Hey guys, you're watching Python tutorial videos on my YouTube channel, Python for Microscopists. In today's tutorial, let's look at how Fourier transform can be used for image filtering, and you can consider this video to be a follow-up of the previous one where I talked about Fourier transform and discrete Fourier transform and why it is relevant for image processing. So let's jump in. And before jumping into the code, in fact, I still have the scribbles from our last tutorial. Again, this is the equation for Fourier transform, and this is the equation for discrete Fourier transform. And the difference is Fourier transform is a continuous integral, and discrete is because most of the time our pixels are sampling sampled data. They're all discrete, pieces of data. We just use the summation, and here is the equation. Now, what is Fourier transform? Again, a quick 5-second, 10-second summary. The assumption is your signal is made up of a whole bunch of individual sinusoidal waves that can be put together. Yeah. So if you have like a signal, whether it is a sound signal or any signal, we can basically say that, okay, I can decompose this signal into these n number of individual components, and by putting all these components together, you can actually create this. Original data back. Okay. Now, why is it important? Because once you convert this into this from so-called the time domain or spatial domain to the frequency domain, we can apply certain operations onto this frequency domain and convert the image back to original or convert the data back to original. So this can be used for noise suppression, for example, if you're dealing with audio. In video or images, this can be used for edge detection, edge enhancement, or you can use this for, again, smoothing, denoising, various applications. Okay, let's just look at a couple of applications by jumping into the code. And here is the code from last time, where you can actually see our Fourier DFT or discrete Fourier transform of this input image. And again, as I mentioned in the previous tutorial, the central component is the low frequency component. As you go out radially, you are looking at the high frequency component, which is nothing but the edges and other high frequency information contained in your image. Okay, so let's not get distracted. Let's clear the screen. Let's actually go to a new page. Let's clear all the variables. So it's almost like we're starting from scratch. Okay. Now, let's start by reading in an image. Okay. And again, I don't want to waste my time writing a code or waste your time writing code on the screen. So I'm going to read the image right there, and the image is the standard backscattered electron image that we have been using in almost every video. Now, how do we do DFT? Again, we did this in our previous tutorial, CV2. In fact, let me not type. I can copy it from our previous lecture. So, which is on my other screen. Go ahead and paste it. Okay. Now, remember that this DFT value is a 2D complex array. Yeah. When I say complex, this is again, you heard of the term imaginary numbers, complex numbers, right? So the DFT is composed of a real and an imaginary number, which makes it a complex number. Yeah. So in fact, if I run this in the variable explorer, you can see that my image is unsigned integer 8, or DFT is a float 32 with two channels, one channel representing the real, the other one representing the imaginary. Okay. Uh, so and we are converting the image to float 32 because in OpenCV, if you're going to use DFT from OpenCV, it only works on float 32 type of numbers. So that's why I'm converting this into a float 32. Okay. Now, in the previous lecture, I also talked about how if you don't do anything, if you just run this and on the top left of your image, is the origin. Now we want to move that to the center of the image, meaning we need to rearrange or Fourier transform this DFT, uh, the x of this DFT, by shifting it to the zero frequency, which is in the, shifting the zero frequency. I may have confused you. So all I'm trying to say is if you have your DFT here, instead of your zero being here, I want the zero to be here. So your image is going to look like this, and you have all your low frequency here, all your high frequency right around here. Okay. There you go. So all we're doing is shifting this DFT to the center, okay, the 0, 0 of the DFT to the center. Now, again, this still would be a complex number. Let's actually get the magnitude spectrum, okay? So how do you get the magnitude spectrum? The equation is 20 log of absolute frequency, okay? So magnitude spectrum is 20 times logarithmic, which is np dot log, right, of my magnitude. So how do we calculate magnitude? MAGNI. In OpenCV, you have magnitude, and now magnitude of what? Okay, of the shifted DFT. Okay, all channels, I mean all pixels in X, all pixels in Y, and our real values, real numbers are in 0. Okay, and let me expand this right hand side so you can see what I'm going to type. And pretty much the same thing, except we are looking at the imaginary component right there, 1. Okay, so this is it. So this is your, I think we are good. DFT, DFT. Is there a bracket missing? No, I think we are okay there, right? So, okay, two of these, that's fine. In fact, let's go ahead and run this to see everything makes sense. Okay, so my magnitude spectrum is float 32. We are good. Okay, so once we have the magnitude, okay, now sometimes depending on your image, it may come back and basically say that, hey, there is a 0 in your numbers, and we cannot, that's not acceptable. Well, if any, think of it, we are doing a log here, right? So if this value turns out to be 0, then log of 0 is indeterminate, and it's going to yell at us. So in that case, you can go ahead and add a 1 to every value in there. So it's just log of 1 is 0, so you're all okay. Okay, just a warning. In this case, it doesn't look like it's doing that. I mean, it looks like we don't have any 0 values over there. Okay, so now what? Now what are we going to do? Uh, I mean, until this point, we did this in our previous tutorial. So now let's actually create uh, a high pass filter mask. Okay, let's actually do a high pass filter mask. What is a high pass filter? Well, a high pass filter, again, as I mentioned before, lets high frequencies go through, and it blocks all the low frequency. In our image, again, the low frequencies are in the middle. So we need to create a mask. It can be circular or rectangular, it's up to you, or square. So we are going to create a mask right here that's going to put all the values in here as 0, and then all the values out as 1. So so we are actually letting through certain frequencies. Okay, so that part, again, I'm going to share the code with you. I'm not gonna type in front of you. So here, let me go ahead and print. Okay, so we are actually looking at the shape of our image. That's all this is. Okay, and then we are defining what the rows are and what the columns are, and then we are looking at the center pixel. So this is nothing but the center row and center column. Now we are saying that, okay, my mask is nothing but create a bunch of ones, okay, at the rows and columns. Okay, so this is basically what we are trying to do, and then we are creating a mask with 2 channels, because you know that our DFT actually has 2 channels, right? So we are creating a mask with 2 channels, and in this case we choose to do a circular mask. So I'm going to do my R equals to 80. You can do a square mask if you want. Okay, you can basically say, hey, these are find the center pixel, and go 50 pixels to the left, 50 to the right, 50 to the top, 50 to the bottom, and you can define a rectangular. In this case, I chose to do a circular mask. Okay, and circle is defined by what? Yeah, x squared plus y squared, okay, equals to r squared. Yeah, so this is how a circle is defined. So I'm just saying that, okay, x minus the center squared plus y minus the center squared, if it is less than r squared, then replace those values with a value of 0. That's all we are trying to do. Okay, and now let's apply this mask. Okay, and how do we apply this mask? Again, remember, our mask has values of 0 around the center and values of 1 around the edges. So all we need to do is multiply our mask with our DFT shifted image right there with our DFT. Yeah. So let's create a new variable called, let's say, f shift. Okay. And this is basically our DFT shift multiplied by mask. This is how I'm applying my mask. So everything within my DFT image or DFT shifted image, okay, the central values are all multiplied by 0, which means there is nothing happening there. We have like all those values are suppressed, and the outer values we take them as is because we're multiplying them by 1. That's it. Okay, so let's go ahead and visualize this, and let me copy the code I got for visualization. Okay, there you go. So all we have done is, again, this is where we were, and F shift mask, again, this was 20 times log something. I multiplied by 100 so we can see a magnified image. Otherwise, the image looks very faint. Okay, so this is our magnitude. Okay, and I am taking this and we are doing an reverse shift here. Again, let me be a bit careful in explaining this part. Okay, so this is our magnitude of our F shifted image after applying the mask. Okay. Now we need to bring this image back to original. We have to convert this image from the DFT space back to a real XY space. And how do we do that? Step number 1, unshift the shift. We shifted it earlier, remember, to bring the origin to the center. Let's unshift that. Here is how we are doing it. IFFT shift. Okay. After moving the origin back to where it belongs, now we are going to do inverse discrete Fourier transform, IDFT. Okay, that's what this step is doing. And now we are actually calculating the magnitude of this IDFT shift. In fact, this one was just out of curiosity, so you may as well ignore this step. Okay, but look at this. So the way we are actually bringing this image, applying this mask, okay, and I was out of curiosity, I was just checking this. Okay, we don't have to do that. And I was actually mapping it down here just so you can see how it looks like. That's the reason I did this step. Now, the critical steps again are here. So we are unshifting the shift that we have done. We are doing inverse discrete Fourier transform. So all the step we took, we are walking back, okay? And then calculating the magnitude back. And we are basically plotting this, okay? Let's go ahead and plot it so you can see exactly how the output looks like. There you go. So let's focus on this. Let me create a bit more space so you can see it. And let's zoom on this. So on the top left is my input image. And this is the top right is the magnitude spectrum of my discrete Fourier transform. You can see the low frequencies down here, high frequencies on the outside. And then we applied our mask. Again, that's the reason why we are actually showing this here. We applied a mask down here. So to block all the components within a radius of, I believe, 80 pixels down here. Okay. And then letting all the high frequency through. And on the right hand side is the end result. So we constructed a high pass filter by filtering out all the low frequencies. And the result is an edge detector, as you can see here. Okay, so to summarize, there are many operations, image processing operations that you can do in real space, meaning in the image's XY space, or you can do it in the Fourier space by converting your image by using discrete Fourier transform into a different space, into the frequency space. And in the frequency space, now we can select various regions. This is just one way of doing this. You can actually apply a patch up here, a patch up here, a patch down here, and another patch down here to get signals through only from those patches and see exactly what you can get, right? So now you can be creative depending on your application. So all we have done is put a patch down here, a circular patch down here to block all the low pass and let only the high pass through, which means we are seeing, only the high frequencies through, which means we are only seeing the edges. And this is exactly how a high pass filter is constructed. So I hope you learned something from this tutorial, and apologies for the dropping of audio for about 10 seconds earlier in this video, but I hope you got the essence of this discrete Fourier transform. In the next tutorial, let's actually look at a small variation of this, which is called discrete cosine transformation. It's not a variation, it's a different type of transformation, but the idea is the same, going from one space to the other space. Okay, If you like this video, go ahead and like it, and please subscribe to my channel. It definitely keeps me encouraged to create more such content. Thank you very much for your attention.